Hello everyone, hope you all are doing great. Have you ever gone to the store, picked up a dress, you absolutely love the color, it suits you, and you try it on, the cut or the shape of the dress suits your body type, everything is perfect, except this one place where it just doesn't seem to fit right. And then do you wonder, should I get this altered? Should I even take the trouble of doing that? Or should I just put it back on the rack? If that's you, we definitely have some tips and guidance for you today, where I'll talk about things that might make it easier for you to decide, should you get it altered or should you put it back on the rack? One of the biggest aspects of looking stylish is actually wearing clothes that fit perfectly. In fact, if everything that you're wearing fits you just right, hits you in all the right places and fits you perfectly, you will look instantly stylish. So today I'll be talking about some of the common alterations that you can do to clothes that you buy in a store to make those clothes fit just right for you. Some of them are easy to do, and sometimes the clothes are just not cut right for you, and then yes, it's going to be very hard to get it altered. I have to say, I am not a seamstress, I'm not a tailor, and I was about to say, I don't think I could sew if my life depended on it. Well, maybe not quite right, I could sew if my life depended on it, but I don't think you'd want to wear it. But I have been going to the tailor for many years, and I have a lot of experience getting clothes altered and also know what are some of the alterations that are easier to do. Personally, I don't think any alterations are easy to do, and getting it perfect, everything just right, everything is hard, but compared to some are easier to do, and those are the ones typically we go for, especially if you're in a place like the US where alterations aren't exactly cheap. But having said that, some are a lot more affordable and doable than others. And what I will be doing today is sharing what those are. And then you can decide. You buy a $200 jacket. Do you want to spend another $200 getting it altered? Or would you rather go for the alterations that just cost $50? That is up to you, but I'll just be sharing about some of the simpler alterations that typically can be done more easily. And if you are petite or if you have a short torso, stay tuned until the end. I'll be sharing one of the most common alterations that you will typically need. I also want to share that this video is completely unsponsored and all the opinions shared are my own, and also all the clothes that I share are just my own and things that I bought because I like them. So let's get started with the first alteration. It is shortening the hemline, shortening the length, whether be it that of pants or skirts or jeans. Before I buy clothes, jeans or anything else for that matter, I typically like to read reviews online if they have them. And a lot of times, especially when I'm looking for straight leg jeans or maybe slim bootcut jeans, a lot of times I see people giving the jean a 3-star or a 2-star review saying everything fit perfectly well except it was too long. The waist fit, the hips fit, everything were great, but it's too long, so I sent it back. And I have to tell you, shortening the length is one of the most simplest alteration. So if everything fits and the only thing that doesn't fit is the length of the jeans, then definitely get it altered, because the harder parts to fit are the waist, the hips, the thighs, all of those. So if those fit and the only thing that doesn't fit, definitely get it altered. If it's a straight pair of jeans or with a slight boot cut, as you see here on the right, if you're getting the length shortened, it is pretty straightforward. You just take off the length however much you need at the bottom, and that's that, and you're good to go. There is one exception though. If it's a flare jean, especially one with an exaggerated flare, or some other embellishment or something else going on in the jean to where if you cut off the length, it pretty much changes the shape or the design of the jeans itself, yes, then it is probably not a good idea to get the length shortened. That would be pretty much the only case where you have to send the jeans back because it was too long. And also, one thing to note is in a flare leg jean or even in a bootcut jeans for that matter, the knees have to fit in the right place, because if the knees don't fit, then altering the length alone will give it a very weird shape. So I would say that is one of the few cases where yes, it is hard to alter the length. But if you're going for straight leg jeans or a slim bootcut jeans, you can easily alter the length or shorten the length of the jeans. So the next most common alteration is shortening the sleeves. Sleeves are one of the most easily altered parts of the clothing. Now, even in this jacket, for instance, even if there are buttons or some other fancy embellishments, usually you can still shorten the length of the sleeves pretty easily or comparatively easily. And there is no reason for you to have sleeve lengths that don't fit, that fall far too long, because that just makes it look ill-fitting and definitely not stylish. So altering the sleeve lengths, if that is the only thing, everything else fits, the sleeves are too long, definitely it is advisable to get that altered. Also, if you're thinking it can only be done for dresses or jackets, think again. Even if it's a wool coat or something more fancy that you don't normally think can be altered easily, yes, they can. So even in those, if the sleeves are too long, get the sleeves to the right length. Make sure the sleeves hit you wherever, at the right spot, and that'll instantly make the clothes fit you right and make you look stylish. So the next alteration that we're going to be talking about is shortening the sleeves in sleeveless tops. Actually, it's sleeveless tops or dresses. Take, for instance, the dress I'm wearing. It's a beautiful dress from Black Halo. It has this cowl neck sort of feature going on at the top, and then there is waist definition, and then it sort of hugs your body pretty much till the hips. What happened with this dress for me was, one, the neck was a little too low. The armholes was again a little too low to where my brow was showing. And more importantly, the waist was not in the right place. Now, I am a little bit on the petite side. I'm just under 5'4", but in addition, I also have an extremely short torso. So the waist was far too low for me. And this turned out to be actually a simple alteration. All we did was we lifted the sleeves up a little bit. It fixed both the problems. My brow wasn't showing anymore, and the waist was sitting in the right place. And there are some additional tricks that you can do. For instance, there is this piece of cloth here that sits by the side of the sleeve. And what I told the seamstress was, I want to keep the length of this piece of cloth that sits right next to the sleeve. I didn't want that piece altered. So what she did was shortened the sleeves, but kept this piece of cloth as is. So I'm able to get a little more of the coverage and the style that I wanted. So this again is a simple alteration you can use both for dresses as well as tops. A lot of times, if you're a little bit on the petite side, you'll find, or if you have a short torso, you try on the top and either the neck is too low, armholes are too low, or the waist that just doesn't sit right. That is a relatively simple alteration where you just take the sleeves up a little bit so everything falls just right. The next alteration that we'll talk about is moving the buttons. Say you got this jacket and everything fits great, but let's say you preferred it or you'd get better waist definition if only instead of the jacket buttoning right here, let's say you could take it an inch or less than an inch or a little more than an inch further in so you get better waist definition. And that again is actually a very easy alteration. Keep in mind, you cannot alter the buttonhole itself, but the button itself can be moved in or out in the same line. That way you can loosen the jacket if there is room. There's not a whole lot of room in this particular jacket to loosen it, but if you wanted to tighten it or make it more fitted at the waist, you could easily move this button in and you would get a more fitted look, provided that one alteration made the whole jacket fit correctly everywhere else. So yeah, don't underestimate moving the buttons. Sometimes you just want to cinch it a little bit more, and if it looks like that makes the jacket fit perfectly, then definitely go for it. The next alteration that we'll be talking about is shaping the waist and torso. Actually, there are multiple things that you can do here to make your jacket or dress fit you correctly in the torso. So the first thing that you have is, of course, shaping at the waist itself. Typically, there are seams right at the waist, and those can be taken in or sometimes let out just a bit so the shape of the jacket or dress matches your own body shape. But there is one more thing that you could also do, and that is called darts. Do you see the seam right here? You can have darts in the front and you can have darts in the back as well. Of course, not all dresses or tops or jackets have the shaping darts, but most of them typically do. And using the seams at the waist and the darts, you can create a structure that is customized for you. So these are the seams right at the waist, and you can take them in to give a more well-defined waist if that's what you want. And in addition, I try to show you the darts. So these can be at the front or at the back. And again, these seams or these stitchings allow the seamstress to customize the fit just for you. That is, take it in where you need to take it in and let it out so it fits right correctly at the torso and makes it seem like it was stitched just for you. There is one more type of dart that doesn't get used a lot, unfortunately, but is very useful, and that is the angled darts. These are typically in the front to give that shaping and make room for the bust area. You don't see it used very frequently. I'm not sure why. Typically, they end up putting more vertical shaping seams. Maybe it looks cleaner, but some tops will have this, and that is again a very useful tool. If the angle dart is already there, you can maybe increase it, decrease it, play with it so you get just the right fit. Especially if you're busty or you need more room in the bust, you need proper bust shaping, these angle darts are very useful. Incidentally, in the jacket that I'm wearing, I had to get a lot of torso shaping, waist shaping done to get the jacket to fit just right for me. It does not have angled darts, but of course it has darts in the front that we had to shape. And also there is a seam in the back that we were able to adjust to make the jacket fit just right. So the next simple alteration that we're going to talk about is raising the belt loops. Now, if the waist itself does not sit in the right place, yes, you need to do something to get the waist to be at the right place. But if, say, it's a more straight cut, or you're able to get the waist in the right position, but now the belt loops, for whatever reason, are not in the right place, those can be raised up relatively easily. For instance, in this dress here, it's a beautiful shirt dress by Rag & Bone. Here, as you can see, it's more or less kind of a straight cut here. And for me, what frequently happens is the waist was too low. And this was a simple alteration. All we had to do is take these belt loops and just move it to the right place such that it sits at my natural waist. Again, if the waist itself does not sit in the right place, just moving the belt loops up will not make the dress or jacket or top fit you. So it's important that either it has to be a straight cut to where there is no particular waist definition, or the waist already has to be in the right place, or you have to do something else to make sure the waist is shaped correctly. And finally, we'll come to one of the most important and most frequently used alteration, at least for me, for somebody who has a short torso, is raising the waist. Let me explain what that means. In dresses that have a horizontal seam at the waist, you can, in most cases, take the waist up as much as you need to. For instance, in this dress here, there is actually some elastic and a lot of stitching at the waist. But what it also allows you to do is, if in case there is a lot of excess material on the top, you can take that in right at the seam right here. Now, raising the waist is something that you can do only if there is a horizontal seam. Yes, I mean, in theory, you could raise the waist, or you could just cut some material and put a horizontal seam. But if the dress doesn't already have that seam, it may look out of place. But if it has a seam, that is a very simple fix. And what this essentially allows you to do is, if you're petite or if you have a short torso, you can buy regular jackets, regular tops, regular dresses, and if you can raise the waist up, it now fits you perfectly, and you don't have to always go for petite. In fact, in my case, I have another problem is, even if I go for a petite dress, sometimes if it's a short dress, I find that it doesn't come long enough for me because I'm just under 5'4" and I have a short torso. And in fact, my bottom half is of regular length. So if you have these challenging problems where you're regular on the bottom, petite on top, off the rack, they don't make clothes for people like us. So what you need to do is take a regular dress, and preferably one that has this horizontal seam at the waist, and then so you can take material in. In this particular dress, I actually had to take it up a little bit on here at the sleeves itself and the waist. And the reason I had to do that was, again, the armhole was too low, the neck was too low, so it had to be taken up a little bit here at the sleeve, but then we couldn't do all of it at the sleeve because then I didn't have room for my arm. So then we had to take it up in the sleeve as well as at the waist. But this is really the one alteration, raising the waist, that'll give you so much freedom if you're able to do it. If you're able to find something that has that horizontal seam, then definitely use that to raise the waist and make it fit just right for you. In case the dress does not have a horizontal seam but has a waist belt, you might still be able to get away putting on that horizontal seam because it'll be covered by the belt and it'll look as if it was never there. So all of these things are something to think about as you are buying clothes and trying to figure out how to make them fit just right for you. One thing I wanted to share with you is, how do you even decide where the exact place for your natural waist is and how much do you shorten? I'll share with you a simple practical trick. What you can do is, let's say you're wearing your dress and then the waist is, in this case, of course, the waist is at the right place for me, but let's say it wasn't. It is, you stretch it down fully, completely, and then you just move your arms up, down, you sit down, get up, move around. And then if the waist is not in the right position, what you'll see is it'll do something like this. Here, of course, I'm exaggerating it and artificially making it go up. But if you just sit down, get up, you will see that the waist moves up to its natural place, and you will essentially see this excess material in the front and the back, everywhere. And then what you tell your seamstress to do is, yes, take that excess fabric in. Here, of course, it's already altered, but that is a very easy and a practical tip to figure out how much you need to take the waist up, because as you move about, as you sit down, as you get up, as you pick something from a shelf, you'll see that the waist will gradually hike up to its correct position, and then all you do is get it altered. So every time you move around, you don't have to keep sort of pulling your dress down to make sure the front or the dress lays okay. So that is an easy practical tip that you can use. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video and hope you found it useful. Hopefully the next time you're in a store trying to figure out, should I alter this or should I not alter this? Hopefully you'll have some additional tools, information that you can use to decide what is right for you. Please do drop a comment if you enjoyed the video, and also if you'd like to see additional topics or what topics you'd be interested in. And please do subscribe to the channel if you find these kinds of topics interesting. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.